I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Okay, here we go, guys. The name of this song is Conquistadors. The name of the band is Running Wild. Let's go. Sounds ominous. Little Tooly. Does it sound like Tool?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that official?
No, it's not the official. See that face?
Oh, wow.
Lyrics. Lyrics. Whoa. Of course, Tina, the resident metal historian, knows exactly this band. Running Wild from Germany, I believe. Yeah, right again, Tina. Benina. Okay, so that's about the Conquistadors. And, you know...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing that I think is crazy is that from the beginning of time, like if you follow the Christian tradition or the belief system that we say that we have, and you go back, then we believe that from the time that you're born, you're a sinner.
Right.
So like it just gets worse as you age, you know, because you have more capabilities, and your reach of evil can go much farther than when you're 2 years old. But I think that we've tried, and I'm not sure when this happened, but we've tried to create this picture where the church is like above the sinfulness of the world. It is in one sense, because we're supposed to be, you know, almost like God brings us into his family, and he helps us to not, you know, go all out and exercise all of the shadow of our shadow self. Mm-hmm. So there is a sense of that. But when like people in the name of the Holy Church or in the name of God go out and do these horrible things, you know, killing, raping, all these different, you know, I'm guessing there must have been some thievery too.
Well,
and
Conquistadors,
forcing people
they
into
went
the
after
religion.
the Incas, Aztecs, and just annihilated them, took all their shit, all their resources, all that. I mean, here's my thing. You know, and this kind of comes up all the time in the child sex stuff with the priests, and I'm not bashing the Catholic Church. Obviously, the Conquistadors were deployed by the Catholic Church, what we would call Catholic Church, whatever. But one of the things that really bothers me about our side is, we'll say, our rates of child molestation are right in the skew of the baseball coach or the gymnastic coach or whatever. And I'm like, bruh. In other words,
it's happening at the same rate?
Yeah, it's like we're not like particularly bad here. Where it's across the board. This is gonna happen, and I get the logic, but here's the problem: the football coach and the softball coach is not claiming to be an alter Christi.
Right.
You're claiming to be an alter Christi, and to a certain degree, even as Protestants,
that means like little Christ.
Another Christ, literally, is what alter Christi means.
Another Christ?
Yeah, it's also
you're right.
It's
you're
all
right.
the closest term to alter Christi. There is no alter Christi in the New Testament in the Greek, but there is a term that's very close to alter Christi in the Greek,
Antichrist?
and it's called Antichristos.
I knew it.
Because anti doesn't mean necessarily against; it means in place of. That's the construction of the Greek term, but that's a completely different discussion. My problem is we're claiming to be the representatives of Christ on the earth.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and then go out and doing all that.
The baseball coach is not claiming that.
Right.
So there's a layer of accountability and culpability that you have got to own as a religious person. Mm-hmm. You have to. Mm-hmm. You cannot say, oh, well, other people are doing it. Yeah, but those people are smart enough to not claim to be God's representative on the earth.
Yeah.
We've got a dilemma as Christians because we've got a guy that we can never live up to in Jesus, right? And that's by design, because what you're supposed to say as a Christian is, hey, man, I see that you're in a bit of a pickle. And you're in a pickle because you're in a fucked up world. And you're in a fucked up world because all of us are bent towards selfishness. Now, I know a guy who helped me with it. I'm pretty sure he can help you too. And if you want to hear about him, great. If you don't want to hear about him, he sent me over here to love you as best as I can. So I'm not very good at it. Here we are. If we did that collectively and some knucklehead screwed up, people would be forgiving.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Our secular friends would be completely forgiving. That's not how we approach these issues. You know, and I understand the Conquistadors. I mean, they dehumanized these people. They didn't even believe that they were, you know, you just read some of these people's journal. I mean, these people were horrific. And by the way, just as an aside,
they dehumanized the people that they were assaulting.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Just as a quick aside, There is a conquistador mentioned in the New Testament.
There is?
Yeah. It's called the rider on the white horse in the four seals of Revelation. And it says, he went out conquering and to conquer. And that guy is universally looked upon as a bad guy. Whether you think he's the Antichrist or whatever, I personally think it was Titus Vespasian. But you know, we can talk about that. I mean, Vespasian was known to ride on a white horse, and his son Titus said, "My father's a conqueror. That's all we do is conquer." I mean, the same word groupings are there and everything. But that's a different discussion. Either way, I don't care if you think he's Titus Vespasian, whoever you think the rider on the white horse is in Revelation, who's going out conquering people with warfare. It's not the good guys. The good guys are never doing that in the New Testament. You know, I've been in a couple debates about, you know, non-lethality, pacifism, whatever. Mm-hmm. And my statement, I've had to augment my expression of this.
Okay.
I believe that I think it's an airtight case from a New Testament perspective. It is impossible to justify any sort of killing, even killing in self-defense or killing in defense of others. It is impossible to justify that from a New Testament perspective.
Yeah.
How the hell we got from that to we're going to go over here and slaughter all these pagans in the name of Christ, I will never understand. Well, here's what I will understand, and Catholics don't kill me, but Roman Catholicism does not limit itself to the Bible.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Does not believe in sola scriptura.
Yeah.
And so because you're not limited to only the New Testament, then a papal bull or a bishop or whatever can deploy you out there to kill a whole bunch of people wholesale, and you get time off in purgatory. That's just facts. Those are facts. So that cannot be harmed. And, you know, it's really cool that the guy didn't bash Christianity. He's bashing the religious madmen that told these people to do this shit.
Yeah.
So he's not bad. I don't as
and
a Christian.
He calls them madmen, so it's not like he's saying, well, this is what Christianity is.
Huh?
He calls them madmen, which means this is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. BC. My man, listen. I will ban you forever in this channel if you ever in your life say something like that ever again. You gotta have lines, bro. And Jesus is my line. Don't you ever in your life do that in this channel ever again. You got no place in this community if you ever do something like that ever again. We continue. That's one. I won't warn you again. You'll just disappear. Okay, we continue. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, so the fact that they said... I just don't understand, like, I could see how people could, like, convince themselves that, you know, conquering and trying to spread their religion by the sword. Like, I could see how people could get that idea.
Well, let's just pause for a second. The conquistadors were not doing that. The conquistadors were going... This was during the age of discovery, where it was, hey, it's our manifest destiny in the Western world to go and conquer the world and discover new shit. It wasn't, we're going to spread Christianity. It's not... There was a massive economic and geographic motivation to it. Spreading the gospel was not the primary impetus here. No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay, what about... How did they justify rape? Were they saying... They weren't saying that they... Were they saying they were religious at all?
I just... Look, I don't think that rape can be justified. Rape is simply a fact of war. So that wasn't something that they spent a lot of time trying to justify. That was a what they would probably say would be an unfortunate byproduct of the age of discovery, is what they would probably say. Just like what we did to Iraq and Afghanistan, where you have civilian casualties, which are obviously going to happen every time you go to war. We're going to say, well, we didn't go there to kill civvies. It just happens as a consequence of war. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see how somebody would say that, but you can't say that rape is a consequence of war. You don't have to have rape involved.
Yet, it is a consequence of war, because once you've crossed, you've got a group of people who are imposing their will on another group of people, and the men are the ones that they're fighting, and so because the men are killed, and original sin is real, 100% of the time you have wars, you're going to have sexual assaults, because now you have unprotected women. It's just a story of history. So there's no attempt to justify it. People just look at it as a sad consequence or a necessary consequence of war. So there wasn't much justification of that. What I'm saying is these popes and all these people sent these people off to jihad knowing that that is a necessary consequence of war, in the same way that our government and us as people, we voted Bush in for a second term knowing what he was going to do in the world. So we've done this as well. So we can't put this all on the Pope. Mm-hmm. We have done this as well. We've sent people off so that we could keep our cushy little American lifestyle and make sure our gas prices were low, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
And
So,
also to Sadie's point, I
think
Sadie's point is important as well. Rape was used as a tool throughout antiquity. It was a form of subjugation. As a matter of fact, it's one of the tactics that the Chinese are currently using against the Muslims who are being currently genocided in China. It's one of the tactics that they're using on men as well as women, but mostly women for obvious reasons. So, yeah.
Ugh.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, over here it said heathen must turn to Christianity, but you're saying that wasn't part of it?
Yeah, this is a. I was just talking to a big famous atheist guy, and he put this thing about, just remember, this is how Christianity spread. It was spread by the sword. And I said, okay, get us the data. Show us this. This is how Christianity was spread by the sword. Show. This is a common trope that gets dragged out that is not true in the Maine. It's untrue.
Yeah.
But you do have very specific moments in the Western world. Even many of the Crusades could not be looked upon as wars of conversion.
Right.
So this is this very just unnuanced version of history. I have no intention of defending it. I'm just saying the facts are that is not how Christianity spread throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a difference between people who call themselves by the name of Christ doing something and what the actual religion says. Mm-hmm. And the actual religion does not say that we spread it by the sword at all. In fact, it says that it's actually through our deaths that the message is going to end up getting spread all over the place.
Correct.
So,
and then you have to ask the question, what are you talking about when you say Christianity? That's a very important question. If I say, hey, we have this religion where we get to kill everyone and take all their shit, and then we put a Jesus sticker on it, I'm sorry, that's not Christianity. If you look at Encyclopedia Britannica, they'll say Christianity is a religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you look at the teachings of Christ and the first followers, I'm sorry, it is impossible to reconcile those two actions. Mm-hmm. When you put on, and this is the problem where our people who are not necessarily as sophisticated on theology don't understand that. No, it's not true that the Catholic and a regular Christian are reading the same Bible and coming to radically different conclusions. Catholics do not believe that you have to limit yourself to the Bible. As a matter of fact, they believe that the magisterium has the only authority to interpret the Bible, and that they can add extra laws, rules, principles, etc., which is where you get the fifth Marian dogma, Satis Patia, all these doctrines that find no locus in the scripture at all. Mm-hmm. That's just a fact. So if you've got people that don't have that kind of dichotomy and sophistication, they're just going to say all of that is Christianity. But what I would say is your average guy that's marching toward the Aztecs or whatever, the New World or whatever, mm-hmm. that guy is following Jesus the best that he knows how. Mm-hmm. He's probably illiterate. And he's probably, just going along with what the Pope says because he doesn't make a distinction between the Word of God and the Word of the Pope. There's a difference, but I would say that guy is a genuine Christian who's done a bunch of crazy shit, even though he's done it in the name of Christ. The people who are deploying him, who know better, though, are not.
Right.
And I think you have clear biblical ground on this where you look in Galatians where you have false teachers. And Paul talks about the leaders of that false teaching, and he's saying, you guys are going to hell.
Yeah.
He says, you guys are anathema, which basically means God's going to destroy you. But to the people they were influencing, he didn't say they were going to hell. He said, you guys are just foolish. Wake up. Read a book. Like literally, Peter does the same thing. Paul says a lot of things that are confusing, that wicked and unstable people twist to their own destruction, but you ground yourself in the word, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So even before you get out of the first century, you had the originators of the religion saying those guys are not on the team. They're claiming they're on the team, but they're not. So, but again, if you're talking to a person who, and again, we have a lot of time in our hands, so we can do this kind of thing and make these kind of nuanced and make these dichotomies. They're not going to understand that.
Yeah.
So what I would say is that if people say, "Oh, Christians did this in the Crusades," absolutely, Christians did. The buck private down there, I believe he's a Christian, and he did all that crazy shit in the name of Christ because he couldn't tell the difference between the Pope and Jesus. The Pope and the rest of those guys and the cardinals and the bishops and all those guys. You're gonna have a hard time convincing me that those folks are Christian because they knew what they were doing. So I don't have a problem with people saying that, and I make those distinctions because we have time and our audience is a little bit more sophisticated than standard YouTube.
Yeah.
Like no disrespect to any other channels, our audience is a little bit more sophisticated, and so we can do that. But like in shorthand, when I'm having conversations, I say, "Oh yeah, Christians did all this terrible shit," but the Crusades were not a war I mean, there was initially going up against the Mohammedans or the Muslims. They used to call them Mohammedans at the time. And then this other stuff was more about conquest and gold and spices and sugar than it was about spreading Christianity. I mean, these guys took a map and basically cut up the map and said, "You take this, you take that."
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't okay, we're going to send missionaries here and you're going to send missionaries here. It was, we're going to go and boom, 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 and kill a bunch of people. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Weren't those some badass Celtic people living in the Antilles? Yes, they were, Rager. They were badass and they were absolutely metal. Paul actually said, "I can testify that you would have torn out your eyes for me." He said that to the Galatians because they were just raw. I'm impressed, 275, which is probably insulting to you, but holy shit, he's right. The Galatians were the most metal group of all. I mean, there's nobody else that Paul said that to. He said, I could testify before Christ that you'd have torn out your eyes for me, he said.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the people that Paul said, "All you guys worried about circumcision, why don't you just go all the way, bro?" That's in the Bible. Dudes were worrying about circumcision, and so Paul said, "Just go all the way and do the big chop, since you're so worried about these people and what's in their junk." That's pretty fucking instructive, boy. I'm not gonna touch that one. Woo! I'm gonna do a lot with that one, but I'm not going to today. Holy shit! I wish you know who would be really great here.
Who?
My man Priest.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would come with the vax.
Yeah, for sure.
Christianity was spread by fear. When the Spanish came to Mexico, they brought diseases that killed the natives, and the natives figured that they were not getting sick and dying because of the God that they worship. Damn, that's such a good call. Imagine, do you see that?
No.
When the Spanish came to Mexico, they brought diseases that killed natives, and the natives figured that they were not getting, that the invaders weren't getting sick and dying because of the God they prayed to.
Oh my!
Wow, dude, that's crazy.
Wow.
So many guys should be.
Did you think that they sounded at all like Maiden?
Hold on. BC, yeah, your joke was bad. It was absolutely bad. Don't play around with Jesus. He's God Almighty. That's for your own protection. That's for your own protection. There's a line. Don't cross the line. That's all. Don't talk about it anymore. There's a line, and you crossed it. Don't do it again. You see Ben Webben here? He says all types of crazy shit. He had a meltdown and did some dumb shit like that 2 years ago. I said the same thing to him. He never did it again. Okay? So we got a wide berth here, but I'm not going to let you stoke the oven up higher for yourself, because you're clearly That's a separate discussion. I'm not going to air you out on here. I'm just saying, be wise. What does it say? Be wise, O kings. Be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear. Rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you tremble in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Don't play around. He doesn't just pet sheep.
I think it was perish in the way.
Yeah, you perish in the way. He doesn't just pet sheep, bro. He doesn't just pet sheep. He's a man of war.
Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
Okay, did you think?
So I'm doing this for you. This is my extension of love to you, because I don't want anything to happen to you. Okay, continue.
Did you think they sounded like Maiden?
They absolutely sounded like Iron Maiden, bro.
Okay.
What year was this? 88?
1988.
Yeah, dude, they sounded a lot like Iron Maiden. Like, they had their own little style.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem with them sounding like Maiden. I think more bands should sound like Maiden. You know, because when I came into metal, I came into new metal, everybody sounded like Korn, and it was like the same fucking riff all. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't have a problem with people sounding like Maiden. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I don't have a problem with it is because I just don't think that they can really be replicated. I really don't. I think, like, it's one of those things where, like, you immediately go, you're trying to be like Iron Maiden. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't have a problem with it because I love Iron Maiden. I think Iron Maiden is my favorite band in some sort of genre that I can't really name right now, because I love Korn. Korn's my favorite band, and then I love Pantera because of Dime. But I love Maiden. I don't know, maybe is Maiden, what kind of metal is Maiden? Maybe I'll say that they're the greatest, that kind of band of all time or whatever.
All right, what do you give the song?
Slayer started as a band covering Iron Maiden.
Oh my goodness.
Holy shit. Holy shit. That's crazy.
For me, it will be a 9.1. And definitely an important topic.
I gotta
think
give
it's good
it
when this stuff gets discussed.
Okay, New Wave British. Okay. They're the GOAT New Wave British band of all time is Iron Maiden.
Oh,
I gotta give this a 9.6.
Didn't you call it pirate metal?
The guy called it pirate metal.
A German pirate metal band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you gave it what? What'd you give it?
Yeah, I give it a 9.6. I think, look,
okay.
every band that you love is influenced by someone.
Of course, yeah.
And the job of the artist, the more and more I listen to songs, like the more I realize it's not to come up with something completely different nobody's ever heard before. It's to build on what, it's to take the baton and hopefully you add something to it. So then the next generation, like 2-3 generations, like, it started with you, and then, like, look at what Black Sabbath did. Like, look at what Tony Iommi did. Like, all of us have taken riffs from that dude. Even if I had never, by the time I got a guitar, my 18th birthday, I had never heard a Black Sabbath song.
Wow, really?
And when I was doodling and doing riffs and all that shit,
yeah.
Years later, I start the channel, and I'm like, holy shit, the riffs that I was playing in my house that I just came up with, he had done them all. What had happened? I was listening to the radio, and it got into my subconscious, and all these people who had been influenced by Iommi were influencing me, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that's my thing. Is like, the band doesn't necessarily need to be completely original. Like, they just have to be able to build on what came before them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you have it.
Wow, he's got Judas Priest over Maiden? Nah, bro. Nah. Judas Priest is badass, but I cannot do that over Maiden, bro. I can't.
I don't know.
That's
I don't know. To me, they kind of... I think that they fight with each other depending on who's going to be better, to be honest with you. Judas Priest is pretty good. So
here's what I'll say about Judas Priest over Maiden. Is that Judas Priest, as far as like heavy, like shit that I like they blow Maiden away in that category. And I don't know if that's blasphemous to say, but I don't perceive Maiden to be like a heavy band, whereas Judas Priest, I perceive them to be, they're heavy. And then when Halford comes in, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Whereas with Maiden, I love Maiden because of the melodies and the harmonies of what they do with the guitar. I love Maiden's guitar harmonies, and then you put Bruce's voice on top of it, and it's like, shit, man. Like, it's just a formula that they repeat a million times, and I don't give a fuck because it works every single time. Every single time. So, I don't know.
All right, well, there you have it.
Amy. Okay, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy. I was just about to say, where are our admins? Okay, I'm gonna peace out, and then we're gonna have to do a reset for some folks. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.